Hey everybody, since print comp season is around us now, I thought I would run through how to create a digital mat around your entries. So obviously the digital mat is something that is used for point scoring in a lot of competitions. Professional Photographers Association of America, for example, the International Print Competition, Shutterfest, and a myriad of other organizations like Sync. Also, digital mats tend to be just better looking from a standpoint of presentation. So that's why they're one of the 12 points that are given to you when you're entering a competition. So not entering a mat or not putting a mat on it could actually cost you a bit of points. So this is obviously to make up for what in the true print world, where you would submit to an old print competition where you'd actually mat and or frame your entry. This is the digital equivalent of that. This is not difficult to do at all, and there's a lot of leeway for creativity here. But I wanted to show you how I do it because it's fast, it's easy, and you could even make an action to do this. So um, I'm going to run through and show you how I make a mat on an image. So very easily, the first thing we do is obviously load your image. I make sure there's no watermark or visible signature anywhere because that will disqualify you immediately. And what I do is I want to make this background layer so that I can actually scale the image without scaling the background. I also want to do it so that it's clear of pixels. So one simple step to kind of make your life easier is just double click on the name of the layer and hit OK. That will turn it off from being a background layer, and now it's actually free to move about. So what we need to do is we need to increase the canvas size. So just use image, canvas size. And this is, again, totally subjective. I'm just going to use 2 inches here, but you can use anything you'd like to use and hit OK. So you've seen what we've done is we've added a bit of a border there. Let's make it bigger. So let's do image, canvas size again. Let's choose 4 inches this time. Okay, there we go. So what we have is an image that is floating in the middle of a canvas that has no information on it. So what we want to do is we want to create a layer that contains the color of our mat. So you can do solid color. It's just down here I went to the effects menu, the adjustment layer menu, and choose solid color and hit OK. And then put this underneath your image. So there you go. And from here you can double click on that color because we just obviously selected default to begin with. Now we can go in and pick a color that is in the image so that we get a mat that makes sense. I don't prefer a black or a white mat. I tend to prefer one that has a little bit of interest to it. So let's do. We don't want it to draw our eye. We don't want it to dominate our image. So I think this mat is probably even a little bit on the big side compared to what I would probably like to see. And hit OK. Now the other thing we need to do is we need to put a little tiny pin line around the inside. And this is also very easy to do. Just select the image itself, go down to the FX menu and choose stroke. And I tend, again, pick color, pick something from inside the image and hit OK. And then you decide what size you would like it to be and so on. I like it to be thin but there. I don't want my eye to be drawn to it, but I do want it to be there if someone goes looking for it. They go, oh, that's a nice little addition. So you can change all kinds of aspects of this. Obviously the opacity. I tend to leave the opacity at 100% and just go and play with the color itself. So if I need to darken it, I would do it this way. It's just my preference. So I usually just pick a color from somewhere inside the document. That's it. I mean, that's really all there is to it. So let's do that again from the beginning, and we'll just run through it real fast. So again, you're going to change this from a background layer to a regular layer by double-clicking on it and then hitting OK. And then you're going to image, canvas size, and then add an amount. So I thought 4 was too much. Let's go 3 inches for this image. OK. And then I need to create a solid color adjustment layer. Now you can do it from this little handy menu down here, or you can do it from up here with the adjustment layers. So it's at the top. Solid color, hit OK. And then move it underneath the image. We do that obviously so we can see. You could create a mat if you would like, but I really don't see the benefit of the mat unless you're going to do something else. So then we'd obviously pick a color that's inside of our image for the mat. And then we go back to the image, click on it, choose FX this time, and choose stroke here. And then let it pick a color. And then obviously you can play with all these settings until you see something you like. But I tend to just leave it on normal, pick the size, and pick a color and hit OK. and that's it. Now you can take this to the next level. So let's talk about something else. So I'm going to grab one of my painterly textures here. I'll put a link to those if you want those as well. And I'm just going to stretch it indiscriminately and put it on here. I'm going to move it underneath so that it is right over the top of that texture layer. And now I can play with like the blending modes here. So let's say I pick color dodge, for example. So this is kind of taken it to the next level. We don't want a distracting texture, but we want something that adds a little bit of life to the image. And obviously I may need to change my colors. I can change the opacity. I will probably play with the underlying color more than I would change the opacity, just because I know what I want. Obviously it's harder to work with if there's a color on this layer, so you can obviously get rid of the color in this layer if you need to. But just for demonstrating what we're talking about here, I'm going to leave it as it is. Now, one other thing that I like to do from time to time is, again, if you double click on the effects icon here, you can add another effect. One that I also like is outer glow. So with outer glow, you can change the blending mode. Again, normal is probably the easiest one to start with. I picked a black one and I added a bit of a, it looks like a drop shadow almost, around the difference between the stroke and the texture. So now this is kind of looking really, I mean, it's really nice. It has taken on a life of its own. The negative here, why this is not going to be a print comp image for me, is that I have a whiter or light item that touches the edge, tends to draw the eye off the page. I know I'm going to get hit for that one. But now I think we've created a digital matte here that is really kind of, it added a lot to the image. You know, here's our before, and here's with our matte. So that's how you add a digital matte to an image. So go look at those print competitions. I'll see you at Sync. I'll see you at Shutterfest and around the United States at different PPA chapters. So again, I'll put links to stuff in the description below if you're looking for the texture pack, or I'll probably make an action for the borders as well if you don't want to do it yourself and you just want to have the point of departure so all the layers are there and you just have to pick your colors. I'll throw that in there as well. So catch you later.